Hey guys, Tim here, and today we're in the actually old manga room, which is my new, I guess, kind of work area studio. I brought my Detolf and figures and stuff in here, and still got some manga on the shelf back there because I haven't taken that downstairs yet. But that's not what this video about. This video is I'm starting this new video series mainly as a form of documentation to track my progress as I learn Japanese. I've been to Japan twice now, and after my last trip in 2019, I decided, well, I've been to Japan twice. I should probably learn the language because I plan to keep visiting there more, and I do visit people there, other artists and stuff. So it'd be nice to be able to talk with people while I'm there and actually traverse and get my way around Japan a bit easier and actually understand things and stuff. I've been interested in Japanese culture for a very long time. It technically would be from like the 90s and stuff with like Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z, but after my two trips I decided I'm finally going to learn the language. Also to be able to enjoy anime and manga in their native context without all the censorship and changes when it's adapted to English. I'm not even talking about English dubs only, but even when you watch anime with English subs, changes are often made, and since Japan doesn't translate well into English at all, you lose a lot of context and meaning when it's translated, even if they don't censor things or put in woke propaganda, which has become more commonplace lately when companies bring over anime, manga, and video games. There's a lot of that going on now, unfortunately. But anyway, I decided in 2019 that early 2020, after the holidays, I'd start to study Japanese. So I did the usual thing that most people do and bought a bunch of Japanese study books. I didn't buy all of these at the same time. I bought them like over 2020, and I believe some even in yeah, actually some I know for sure came from 2021. Not all these are from 2020, but I bought a bunch of these, and some are all right, but some definitely not all right. And I bought the books and I started learning hiragana and katakana. I learned those pretty quickly. Over like a full month, I wrote them all out from memory like every day, and that helped a lot. But it didn't take me a full month to learn all the hiragana and katakana. It took maybe a week or two to learn it all, but I still wanted to write it all out for like the full month, and I did that in February, which was the shortest month. It was slow in the beginning, and then the thing which must not be named happened in 2020, and that just killed my motivation, and I dropped the language, unfortunately. Also, I wasn't sure when Japan would open ever again, and it still hasn't opened yet. It's been going on 3 years now, and they still haven't opened to tourists, so not sure when that's going to happen. Though through 2020, I'd still here and there decide to study some Japanese. I'd pick up Genki and stuff and study it. I've worked through the book completely probably twice, and I still don't remember a whole lot of it, and I would just pick it up and work through a bit and then drop it and then pick up it a bit and drop it. And that's pretty much all I did in 2020, was just a lot of start and stop from the very basics. Like I memorized all of the like basic stuff and introduction phrases and just Ohayo gozaimasu, good morning, good evening, all that stuff. Learned all the hiragana and katakana, learned some kanji, but 2020 was really just a wash because the thing which must not be named happened, and just wasn't sure when Japan would open, and that just killed my motivation. Then in 2021, I learned about AJATT, MIA, Mass Immersion Approach, Refode, whatever you want to call it, and saw lots of people have great success with that method. And it seemed like a lot more fun than the traditional method of like working through Genki and just doing textbooks, because that's not very fun at all. You much rather do Immersion, where you just listen to the language a lot, watch tons of anime, play video games and stuff. And a lot of people had success with that, so I was like, yeah, I can get behind that. That seems more fun. So over a few months, I watched tons of videos by Matt versus Japan, Brit versus Japan, and Stevie, which is the German guy who actually passed the JLPT N1 in just 18 months, which is insane to be able to do stuff like that. And some people, I believe, have even done it in a bit less time. So that's basically like really, really good Japanese. It's not native level or anything, but like you wouldn't be able to speak it natively because you adapt that over time. But as far as memorizing tons of the language and like over 10,000 sentences, all your basic 2,200 kanji and all their multiple meanings and stuff, it's just really impressive. And I was like, well, if it worked for them, yeah, it can work for me. So that's the reason I decided to do this approach. So I got Anki and began my journey. Through 2021, I still didn't take it completely seriously and had lots of start and stop moments. And it's just other things got in the way. It's like I'm really busy, so it's like you miss a day or two and then you're just thrown completely off, and it just takes forever to catch back up. So it just killed your motivation. Then in August, I tried to get a spot for the JLPT. In December, I was going to take the N4 test, and I was just going to study from like August all the way up until December, because I thought that would be enough time doing the mass immersion approach in order to pass the JLPT. And I didn't get a spot because all the seats filled up within seconds. It seemed like it was just like they came up live and the website would crash, and it's just they opened some more spots and got the site back up, and it crashed again the next day, and I just wasn't able to get a spot, and that just killed my motivation, and I just dropped Japanese again after that. Then November comes around, and I get past being annoyed that I couldn't get a spot for the JLPT N4 test, and the fact that it seems like Japan won't open widely for tourists until like 2023, it's seeming like, unfortunately. So that, again, I finally had to get over that I'm not going to be visiting Japan until I'm like 30, so that's unfortunate. But after I got past all that, I made up my mind that I was going to learn this language. I've put in quite a bit of time off and on that I need to take it serious, especially since once Japan finally opens, I am going to be visiting it again, so I need to learn the language, and I just want to enjoy Japanese content in its original format without all the things that I mentioned before. So in November, I hit AJATT pretty hard, and Anki every day, immersion, passive immersion, reading NHK news articles almost every day, and about a month I was doing good. I had made it a bit over 600 kanji doing RRTK, and around that many sentence cards, not quite as many because I had that set to lower, but I had made it quite far in the JP1K deck, which is the 1000 like common sentences in Japanese. It's a pretty good deck. I believe it's just the Tango N5 deck, but just rebranded pretty much, but it's pretty good. Then the holidays. I got too busy and ended up missing a couple of days of Anki, which was bad, and then I got sick right after like a weekend, and I missed like that full week. So I ended up missing 11 days in total, which anyone who does Anki knows that's disastrous. That just kills the algorithm, and it just makes it where it's almost impossible to catch back up and get it to where it's working properly again. So yeah, I kind of dropped Japanese yet again. Until 4 days ago, December 22nd, I decided it's time to get back to it. I reset my Anki decks, researched a lot more into MIA because I hadn't done that like really properly, like going to MIA website or Brit vs. Japan's website and actually like researching all the stuff I needed to do. Instead of researching it before, I just jumped right into just doing the immersion and doing the Anki decks, and I didn't really set up Anki properly. That way it works better for whenever you get to the later stages of MIA. Then I got a new laptop, just a cheap one, just for studying Japanese. I'm going to set it up in Japanese eventually, like around maybe the 4, 5, 6 month mark. I'm going to do that. But basically, I got a new laptop just so I can store Japanese immersion materials, set up my browser. That way it's easier to mine sentences, and got it all set up just for learning Japanese. Creating Anki decks, getting add-ons, all that sort of thing. So this will be episode 0 of my journey to Japanese, as I haven't really got fully into it yet. The first proper episode will probably be about a month in. So this is episode 0. This is just like me stating my goals with this and all that sort of thing. I plan to document my goals periodically. My main goal is to pass the JLPT N3 test at the end of 2022, which is definitely possible within like a 12-month span. Well, it'd be about 11 months, maybe a bit less. Once I get set up, because it's usually like really early in December, so hopefully I can get a seat to that. And I want to be able to understand most Japanese, like I'm actually going to get more into the slice of life genre because I really enjoy that genre of manga, and I want to get a lot into that for anime and just rewatch tons of slice of life anime and watch new slice of life anime from my active immersion. I'm not going to be fluent in a year's time. That's just not possible. I'm not that worried about speaking as much as I am just immersing in it and getting as much input as I can throughout the day as far as passive listening. But I want to try to get I would love to get 2 to 3 to 4 hours of active immersion per day, and that's like watching Japanese YouTube, watching anime in Japanese, watching Japanese movies, sometimes with English subtitles, but I'd love to be able to watch it mostly with Japanese subtitles, and the site I'm using for that is Animelon. And I do have some Japanese anime on DVD, so I might be able to play those as well. And I'm just going to worry about immersion and input mainly for the first 1.5 to 2 years, and then by that point I want to be able to start doing output. I'm not even worried about any output within this first year. Then maybe if Japan is back to normal in 2023, I hope to attend language school in Japan, because you can do that for up to 2 years on a student visa. So I'd love to do that for like 6 months at a time, then come home, or maybe even a year at a time and just live over there for like a whole year, because I want to spend some time in Japan because I really like the country, but I don't want to live there full time. I don't want to get a job there, so I just want to just do language school for like the full 2 years, like off and on for a few years, and get that all in. And I want to attend language school to be able to study for the N1 or N2, whichever level I'm at around that time. But mostly I'm going to go to like, what's it called? Nihongo. I forget. It's one of those abroad in Japan study programs, and I'm going to probably do that and like save up a lot for that and hopefully do that. And probably 6 months at a time, and I'm going to pick one of the easier schools and one of the more laid back schools, but it's going to be for the N2 or N1 level, just because I don't want to spend all my time in the classroom. I want to be able to go out and do things. Now, a brief overview of what I'm currently doing and my plans. For now, my main goal is to finish RRTK and finish the JP1K deck, both by the end of March. Ideally, I would get them done hopefully around that time. I think I have enough time to do that within 3 months. Since I remembered most of the early kanji pretty well, I had my Anki deck set to 50 for the first 4 days, just to get past all the kanji that I really had ingrained in my mind from whenever I was studying the RRTK kanji deck earlier in the year. Starting December 26th, tomorrow, I've set my deck to 20 new cards a day, so that's going to be my goal. I'm going to try to keep it 20 cards a day all the way through March. JP1K deck I had set to 20 sentences a day for the first 4 days, but starting tomorrow I've lowered it to 10, just because for the first 3 months it's not that much about getting sentences. Like, I want to finish the 1K deck, but finishing RRTK is a lot more important, and I don't want to be spending 2 to 3, 4 hours on Anki every day once I get a month or so into this, because the time's really going to add up with the sentences and doing kanji, and it's just going to be really hard to keep up with that with Anki. By the end of March, I want to have a solid foundation for my transition to sentence mining, and for when I begin reading a lot more. I'll also begin doing as much immersion as I can for the first 3 months of build-up, just as much as I can, passive immersion, active immersion, possibly might read some sentences on NHK Easy. Probably not going to worry too much about manga, because I have my computer set up with one of the add-ons. I forget what it's called, but basically you can highlight and go over like Japanese text, and it brings up translations and stuff while you're reading, so that's really cool. But I want to have a solid foundation after the first 3 months and just do as much immersion as I can. At the moment, I'm listening to Japanese YouTube quite a bit. I'm doing podcasts whenever I clean and stuff and drive. Mainly for passive immersion is what I'm using those for. And at the moment, I'm rewatching One Punch Man in Japanese with Japanese subtitles, like I said, on Animelon. That's going to be my main resource at the moment, because I don't have Netflix or anything or a VPN, so that's not an option. I'm also watching Gintama in Japanese with English subtitles, and I'm doing that on Crunchyroll. With the next update, I'm probably going to show my numbers account, where I have some like spreadsheets set up for listing all the stuff that I read and watch, and that's pretty much all I've got for the first 4 days, just doing those things. I'll be making another update video for this in early February, after around the 1 month mark, to show my stats for Japanese. I have the Stevie, the German guy, his Google document, like he has it where you can get it and input your own information, and it tracks everything for you, so I really like that. And I'm going to show all my numbers for like the hours I've studied, what I've put into what, and just show that at that time, as well as a list of the content I've immersed in over the next month period. I'm have that on my own spreadsheets, and I'll be showing those off as well as listing everything that I've done at that time. After that update, it won't be until early April probably, once I finish the RRTK deck and JP1K deck. That's when I'll probably do the next update, so that'll be episode 2, or whatever I'm going to call these videos. So like I said, I'm mainly doing this series for me to look back on, like over a year period of doing AJATT, MIA, refold, the immersion method. After a year, I want to be able to look back and just see how much I've grown. Right now, still very much at the beginning levels. It's going to take quite a while, but I need to force myself through these first 3 months, because that's probably going to be the hardest part, where you just don't understand anything, and doing like RRTK and memorizing 2,200 kanji is a pain in the butt, but it's got to be done. So definitely got to do that. But if anyone else gets inspiration from this, like doing this video series, because I know a lot of people do these video series where it's like 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and that's probably what I'm going to be doing. It's not likely to be an every month thing unless I find some other things that are cool. But if anyone else gets inspiration from this to pick up Japanese or start back learning Japanese, that would be great too. But like I said, I'm mainly doing this for me, in order for me to look back on once I get at those higher levels, and as a way to kind of force myself to actually stick to it this time, because if I have videos that I got to do and goals oriented, like I have a clipboard and sticky notes that I have like 1 month goal, 3 month goal, and I just have goals that I want to hit, and I want to hit those, and doing the videos will hopefully help me stay motivated to keep up this and just force my way through the beginning stages and make it to the fun stages of like after you're 6 months in and you're just watching anime and able to understand most of it and just sentence mining and stuff, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So that's all I have for this update. I will see you in the next one. Later.